Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your favorite paranormal investigator. My name's Tim Sudano, as it says right over here. And I am the host of Paranormal Insight. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We said Happy New Year last time, but Happy New Year once again. And tonight we have a very special guest, a very good friend of mine. We've never met in person. Have not met in real life. It sounds like one of those weird dating tragedies, but that's not it at all. He's married. I'm straight, so it's okay. But he and I became friends over the years, really, doing podcasts and such. And I had him on as a guest on my show early on, and he had me on guests on his show a couple of times. And this is his second time back with me, which I'm super excited about. And he is, something of a magnet for a lot of fun paranormal, very interesting paranormal activity. So without further ado, let me bring on Mr. Tommy Cullen. Tommy, welcome to the show.
Hello, sir. Thank you for having me back, man. We are going to meet one day as well in person. We're going to make it happen.
We gotta. I have 100%. To fill out a weird new piece of something in order to come to your country now.
Yeah, you can, really?
Did you hear about that?
No. What's that about?
There's England. England or the UK, I guess. Put something together where if an American wants to travel to your country, we have to sign up as a temporary citizen or something like that.
Really?
It's literally just a piece of paper and they stamp it when we go. But, in addition to a passport, we have to do that.
Okay.
Not the other way around.
I wonder why. I mean, I don't know what they do. They're making it up as they go along.
Maybe. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. Maybe the incoming president ticked off someone. Who knows? I mean, honestly, I couldn't even.
It's carnage at the moment. It's carnage. I don't know if you saw recently.
It's a weird world right now.
It's getting wild.
It's
getting wild. It's exciting though. It's exciting.
It is. I'm despite it all, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, same. Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to get crazy, even crazier in 2025. But I'm excited for it. I'm ready for it. It's good for us. Anyway.
Me too. It's a good crazy. I'm looking forward to the good crazy. Good crazy.
Yeah.
Just to let everyone know, there is a delay between Tommy and I on the internet, so there may be some pauses. Just giving everyone a heads up. Pardon me,
no.
I have gas on the air.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, man.
Oh, man, it's my absolute pleasure, and this should have happened at least 4 times prior to this. It just didn't for whatever reason.
We had a great chat last time, so I'm glad to be back, man.
We did. When you had JG and I on your show, it was fantastic. That was just too much fun. Too much fun,
man. Yeah, it's always a good time.
It is. It really is. Let's jump into. In fact, let's show the clip to everyone. I'm going to show you a clip from Tommy's show. Tommy had a weird thing happen, and it's not the first thing he's had happen in his house or in a home he's lived in the past, because it hasn't lived in the same place all those. How long have you been in that house, Tommy?
So this house now, we've been here for just over 3 years, and it seems to be
relatively new to the house.
Yeah, it's still new, but it's with the paranormal in this house. It seems to go through like fits and spells. Like sometimes there's a lot going on, and the kids are freaking out, the wife's freaking out, I'm freaking out. And then we have a couple of months of calm. There seems to be nothing. And then it all kicks off again. And the wife's like, you got to stop doing this paranormal podcast. I'm like, I can't. I love it. So I don't know, man. I think when you look into the paranormal, as we've said before, the more you look into it, I think the more it looks back and the more that you experience. I think you ask for it when you do what we do. So
you kind of do. It does come with the territory. I've been fortunate or unfortunate, depending on how you look at it. I haven't had that much happen on my end. doing this for the last 3 years, but then this has been my job since 2011. So I guess whatever would have happened to me has happened, and it moved on. I don't know.
Yeah. But it can happen at any time. That's the thing with this stuff. You can't. It just happens, and then when you least expect it, normally, which is what I found.
Yeah. Well, let's review this clip, because this was what, last week?
This was, I put the episode out. This was my Christmas special. So it was recorded about a week before Christmas. This happened. And very strange. I didn't realize it at the time, but yeah, you'll see.
All right, everyone, take a look at this.
You know?
Well, and that's the hard part about it, because it's like, awesome. First beer of the night.
Let's go, brother. I'll cheers you with my energy drink.
Yes. Also, what the on your camera?
I don't know. What was it, man? What happened?
There was like this white fog type mist that appeared.
Are you serious, brother?
Like 100% real. Like
what? Just now?
Yeah, just now. Now.
Bro.
Watch this. Look at this thing. You see that white blob there? I'll roll it back for everyone just so they can see. Watch this.
Bro.
Watch it. Look at that. How's that? That is trippy. And thanks for muting the F-bomb. Because
I thought I took that out for Instagram.
Thanks. Thank you.
You got to be careful on Instagram. I took that out.
Yeah. And we go to public radio as well with this show, so you gotta be careful with the FCC rules over here. But wow, what a surprising thing that happened.
Very strange.
Wow, you were doing an interview. I'm kind of hoping it happens now.
Let's go. Come back.
I'm watching you intently, Tommy.
Well, I mean, weird things have happened in this room. So the story of this room, so this is now my studio, but originally this was my daughter's rooms. So my two girls had bunk beds in this room, and they were having terrible sleeps. They were saying they were seeing shadow figures and things. They were really not having good nights in this room. So I said, okay, we'll move you to the other room. This can be my studio. I'll have the haunted room as the studio. And so weird things do happen in this room. Like the wife gets a weird feeling in here. The kids still get that. They never come in here. Like, this is my room now. This is it. And weird things happen in here quite often. But that's the first time that I think something's been seen on the camera.
That's amazing. I think that is just terribly impressive. I mean, they actually have it show up on camera during a recording for the world to see, I might add. And it was subtle at first. You didn't really even catch it. And then because I was watching the clip, I was like, wait a minute. And then you did the slow-mo playback, and I'm like, oh wow, that was subtle. Good eyes on the other guy. He must have a screen the size of really
for sure. Yeah.
Because I didn't see it initially until he said some paranormal
It's weird because obviously at the time I didn't see it at all. So I did not see it, and so I normally don't with the YouTube. I put the video out on YouTube, but I don't edit it. It just goes out on YouTube. I focus more on like the Apple Podcast and the Spotify, the sound. But I do put the videos out on YouTube now, and I just put that out without even looking back. So obviously I remember him saying that, and I didn't have time to look back. Well, just not forgot about it, but I just didn't look back at it. I put it straight out. And then someone wrote in the comments, minute 38, strange anomaly recorded. What was that? And I was like, I better go back and look at this. So I went back, watched, and I was like, wow. I didn't realize it was that clear, whatever this thing was. And it looked to me like something sort of walking along.
It almost looked like the ghost cat you described last time I had you on the air.
Yes, I did see it. That was a black cat. I did see a black cat downstairs.
Oh, you saw it. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So my brother said to me, could it be a glitch in the camera? And I said, well, if it was a glitch in the camera, surely that would
Not
happen
like
more
that.
often, you know? So
Exactly. Yes.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
pretty freaky, whatever
Yeah,
it
I
was.
couldn't agree with that assessment anymore.
Yeah. So as of yet, because I'm open to people saying it could be this, it could be that. Someone said it could have been the glint from my can, but you saw it before I picked the can up, so it's nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
Someone said, was I smoking a
that wasn't.
cigar? I was like, no, never smoked cigars. So there's nothing was on fire in here. So I don't know what that was, man.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah,
That was
very
pretty
strange.
pretty impressive, is what it was.
Yeah,
Very,
it's quite a
very
cool.
impressive.
I'd say it's
I
the
enjoyed
coolest thing I've
it
Yeah, man. Yeah.
for sure.
Something else happened in this room.
So you're go ahead.
I was going to say something else
No,
happened
that's
in this.
exactly where I was going.
Sorry, man.
This delay is insane. Sorry.
Oh, they're killing us. They're trying to sabotage our interview here.
I was going to ask about what else happened in the room, so please continue.
Well, so a few weird things have happened in here. A lot of people that I talk to a lot of psychic mediums and people like that. Often they will say they see something in this room. So I've had people say that there was a girl standing in the corner before. I've had a lot of people say that there's stuff in this room. I mean, I've experienced noises in this room. Like, for example, probably, I don't know, a little bit before that was recorded. I was in here one night just editing an episode, and I suddenly heard like really loud, really clear, and lasted for quite a while. Just this tapping, tap, 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 tap. And I was like, what is that? There's nothing else in the room. It sounded like, to me at first, I was like, something's fallen and it's bouncing. That's what it sounded like. And I was like, what could that be? What could that be? And I was like laughing to myself because I'm like, what can it be? And then it just stopped. And I was like, that was weird, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on in here, man. I feel like, as I said before, I feel like when you look into this stuff, when you're talking about it all the time, you're going to experience stuff, man. I just think
it's kind of par for the course, isn't it?
Yeah. We asked for it. It does scare me, though. That's the thing. I've had a lot of experiences. As you know, I've had a lot of experiences, but it really does still scare me.
I believe you, dude. I mean, that would get on my nerves after a while, personally. You know what I have? Like, you can't see it, but off camera, I have, because I had one instance, a few years ago, where I saw a full-on shadow person. It wasn't in this room; it was in the living room. So if you got out of this room and down the hall, there's the living room there. And I got up for one thing or another, water, I guess. And I swear I saw this hunched over figure, like a really elderly lady, and she turned and walked away like she was going downstairs. And but there wasn't that much bobbing. It's just like she sank into the floor as she moved away. So I ran back in here and I got on my kit. I started investigating. And so, you know, it's like, if you're here, you're in trouble, yada, yada, yada. And I got this UV light I carry around with me. And especially on investigations, if things get hairy, you're supposed to use a UV light to kind of, almost like a lightsaber kind of a thing. Yeah. Except you shine it down and you create kind of a barrier. And that's exactly what I did. Is I hosed the entire thing down in UV light. Everything out there got a bath in UV light, and I never saw it again.
Interesting.
But, I mean, just yeah.
Was that just like a shadow figure, or was that? Could you see like coloring in the entity, or?
I could see. Oddly, I could see details. I mean, it was as black as the border or my background against, you know, you got that moonlight kind of background with light coming into the house through windows and such. And obviously. I don't know why I said that, but I could make out I can make out noses, ears, hair, the wave of the hair a little bit.
Wow.
And I could make out clothing. So this would and look relatively human or humanoid or whatever, but it just the way it turned and it was just hunched over the little old lady. I assume just by the shape of everything. And she just ghosted into the floor, and that was the first and last time I saw her because I made sure she never came back. But
Wow. Yeah. Wow, man. Wow. Well, I have to say that there's been a lot going on in my house. Not so much the last couple of months, but before that, and other than that entity that was caught on camera, I'm assuming it was an entity. I don't know what it was, but there was a lot going on. And it was really not so much bothering me, but it was bothering the missus and the kids. So it got to a point where I was saying prayers out loud, like, you've got to leave, whatever this is, you're not welcome, leave. Like, and you know, I had to be the first time I ever had to be like that. And it seemed to work. I mean, I still think there's weird stuff still happens, but there was a period where it was getting quite worrying. I have to be honest.
Yeah. I would, yeah, man, that does sound quite worrying. I would be terribly concerned for my family if you were having that much activity. Now, was it super malicious?
It didn't feel nice.
I'm trying to see if it's my chair.
Was it like?
It was weird. It was like a little.
Oh. I'd have to listen back after, man. I'm
not sure if it was in my end because I heard it here.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I also think it could have been from your speaker.
I don't know. I'm not good at catching it at the time. I have to look back.
Okay, well, we'll have to review that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to review this, maybe it's not my chair squeaking. I mean, my chair squeaks, but not like that. That was weird. Man. It could have been something else in the house. Who knows?
Yeah, I feel like when you're talking about this stuff, you invite it. Yeah.
Come on down. But what were you saying?
Yes, there was a lot of negativity. I felt I could feel it, and whatever it was didn't feel nice. And basically, it was because the kids weren't happy about it, which is what was worrying me. I'm not that I'm used to it, but I quite enjoy when weird things happen. I know that sounds weird, but I like it, even though it scares me. But so something happened one night that the girls, my wife and my two daughters, were sleeping downstairs on the couches. They wanted to. It was a Saturday night, and they wanted to like have a girls' night in the front room watching films and stuff. And me and Fred, my young son, we just went upstairs and we laid in bed, and he was in bed with me. And he was asleep, and I was sort of trying to go to sleep. And he woke up, and he looked at the door, and the light was on outside. And he went, "Amy's just walked past." Now, Amy's my eldest daughter. And I was like, "Really?"
Okay.
Like, and Fred sort of he's awake. He's woke up and he's seen her. So I'm thinking, right, he could be sort of asleep, like half asleep. So anyway, I've got up, walked out the room, walked to my daughter's bedroom. Amy's not there. She's downstairs. I said, "What did you see, Fred?" So what was it you saw? He said, "I saw Amy. She was all brown." That's what he said. I was like, okay, that's a bit strange. Anyway, it sort of freaked me out enough to go, right, let's go downstairs with the girls. So me and Fred, we went back downstairs. So we all slept downstairs one night. It's weird things we do in this house, but we all camped out downstairs. And and I think it was that same week. So I didn't think too much of it after that. I thought Fred's just seen something, but I don't know. About that same week, or it might have been the week after, I got home from, so as you know, I get in from work at 1 a.m. UK time. So I get in late at night, and I've come through the front door, and the light's on upstairs, and Ruby, who's my middle daughter, is standing at the top of the stairs. And that's never happened. I said, "Ruby, what's the matter?" And she went, "Mummy said I can sleep in your room tonight because I saw Amy walk past, and it was exactly the same area that Fred saw Amy." right? And it wasn't Amy because Amy was in her bed, and I was like, I went because they both said the same thing now, and they both didn't know.
Yeah.
That they both just thought it was Amy, but I don't think it was. I don't know what it was, but so that freaked me out a lot. And then I was interviewing someone that week,
bet.
Mark Fruits. I was interviewing, and we done the interview. We had a great chat, and then after the show, as you know, sometimes you talk a little bit, and he said, "We're talking," and he said out of nowhere, I didn't ask him or anything. He just said, "You've got a lady on your hallway upstairs in my house." And I was like, now bearing in mind, no one knows what my house looks like. I think JJ Rose, like, she can see the outline of my house without being here, but which is wild. And this guy Mark as well was exactly the same. He was like describing my hallway outside my house and like where the bathroom was and stuff like that. And he said, "You've got this young girl. She's not a problem. She's like a good soul, but she's at your house." And I went cold, like my whole body went, because how would he know that? Like I didn't, that wasn't out on any episodes or anything like that. So that wasn't a negative thing, but that was just one of the things that started off. Then the wife started hearing things, like she heard I was at work and I call my wife Treek, and she heard me say Treek, like very clearly. She said why I was at work. And that freaked her out. And then there was a night when we was watching television. Me and the missus were sitting there watching the television, and we were watching some dating show on Netflix that she wanted to watch. I wasn't really interested in, but we were watching it, and I got into it. But anyway, and we're both just watching this show, and everyone's in bed. The kids are all in bed. It's really late at night, and this sounds like ridiculous, but we heard woo, like a cartoon ghost. And we looked at each other and we went, "What the is that? What was that?"
Yeah.
So I've gone upstairs, checked the kids, like everyone's in bed, and it sounded like it was in the room as well. It's very like weird. And we're like, it must have been on the telly, it must have been on the program that we was watching. So we've rewound it, watched the scene again that we was watching, no sound. And the my wife looked at me and went, "Right, you've got to stop this paranormal stuff because it's getting it's getting out of hand." And I was like, "I know," like we're both laughing about it, but we was freaked out. But then there was like weird noises, and then so I've got security cameras that face outside my house, and so we went away for a weekend. And I brought one of the security cameras in and looked in the hallway where the girls saw the whatever this entity was that they saw. I don't know what it was, but we left the camera facing the hallway. And for that whole weekend, now bearing in mind this camera, it's a pretty good camera. It's meant to just go off if it detects movement. And we get the video sent straight to our phones. And so for the whole weekend, the camera's pinging. Ping, ping, ping. Like every 10 minutes it's going off. Didn't catch anything on the camera. Couldn't see anything. So I can go into the camera and like watch it live. Or if it senses something, it sends me like a 5-second video. Didn't catch anything, but something's triggering it. And I'm like, that's weird. And then it was just the feeling wasn't good. Like the kids were not sleeping well. The wife was getting uneasy. I was getting uneasy with it. And that's when I sort of prayed out loud and was like, whatever's here, you know, you're not welcome. Please leave, you know. And not a lot's happened since then, apart from that figure movement. But yeah, it's got a bit weird, man.
I bet. It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Now, so you say it's not a malevolent presence, but you still feel this kind of darkness to it.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I was starting to feel I've got something else that happened as well. Sorry.
Go for it.
So I was doing an interview. Oh, was I doing an interview? No, I was just editing an episode, and it was about 3:00 in the morning UK time, and I'd finished whatever I was doing, And we always have my dog upstairs in like a big cage. He's in like a big cage, but he sleeps in that at night.
Yeah.
And he's better than all the kids that sleep in. Like, he will sleep all night. He won't make a sound. He'll get up in the morning, and he's like perfect. Like, he's always been good. That's the one good thing that he does, is he sleeps really well. So I've finished this
Good.
whatever I was doing, and I could hear him going mad. He just started barking at something. So I've come out, and this is weird because he doesn't do that. And I'm like, "What's the matter, Blue? What's the matter?" And I've took him out of his cage. I'm like, "What's the matter, mate?" I can then hear someone downstairs moving around very loud.
Oh.
And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, someone's in the house. I've got an intruder." And I've sort of gone to the stairs. The dog's staying with me. He's not running down the stairs. I've gone into the wife, checked the kids. Everyone's in bed. And I can still hear something very loudly downstairs. My heart is going, because in my mind, there's an intruder, right? So I'm thinking, what can I take? I need a weapon. I need to go down there and sort this out. And I've gone to the dog, right, come on, Blue, let's go. Like, trying to pump myself up. We've both gone down the stairs, and there was nothing there. No windows, nothing. I can't tell you. Like, I know people say you can hear noises, houses make noises. There was something downstairs moving around, moving stuff around very loudly. I was convinced I was being burgled, and I was petrified. Like, my heart's going. I wasn't thinking ghost or anything. I was thinking there's an intruder. And yeah, that was something else that happened.
I don't blame you.
So stuff like that, man. And
now, was there anything disturbed? Like, were things on desks moved around or anything like that?
Not that I noticed. No, I didn't notice anything moved, but there was something making big noise down there. Yeah.
Could you move anything in the rooms down there and replicate the noise?
No, I mean, there's a lot of kids' toys and stuff down there. You know, but I don't know what it could have been that they was moving, but it was very loud. It really just sounded like someone was walking around picking stuff up. You know, I just really thought I was being burgled. I really thought there was intruders in the house. And I was like, I need a weapon, man. I need something to take down there. I know I had the dog as well.
Baseball bat.
I do. I said to you, I need a baseball bat. I've got a BB gun, but I don't know what that's going to do.
Cricket bat will work just fine.
Cricket bat, yeah. But that was stuff like that was happening, and I was getting a bad feeling. Like, I really felt uneasy. As much as I love this stuff, I don't want it in the house. I've had quite a lot of things happen, and probably will continue to happen, but I don't want it.
Get out.
Yeah.
Say that to them.
Yeah, man.
Let you pay rent.
Yeah. If they want to pay rent, that's fine. 100%. You can bring all your friends. You can all pay rent. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, when I prayed out loud and I said, and I've done it a couple of times. There was a couple of occasions where I felt like I had to do that, and you know, touch wood, nothing. It's calmed a lot recently. Knock on wood. But
good.
Apart from that little thing, there's not been a lot happening, but it has been crazy. We've just had Christmas. We've been away. We've had a lot of birthdays and stuff like that. So we've been very busy. So maybe I've not noticed it.
Did you? So you said when you were on vacation, you got the camera pinging from the motion sensor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's wow. I wish I could just teleport to England right now. I'd love to investigate your place.
Yeah, man. Come over, man. Yeah. As I said, that was
that extra document.
Yeah. That was picking up on something. Something was making the camera go off, but you couldn't see anything. So there wasn't, you know, and at first we were like, oh, maybe there's a fly in there that's making it go off, but that didn't really make sense. Like that, you know, I don't know. And especially as it was on the area where there's been a bit of activity.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that in like earlier on, when we were starting in investigation investigations and stuff when we were starting to use more and more electronic devices that would help us lock down where activity is, we would use motion sensors with little lights on them and just plug them into walls where there was activity and beep, 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 beep. It's like no one's there. Why is it turning on? And, 3 of these things can't be wrong. I can understand one having a malfunction, but 3 of them can't be wrong. No way. So I would suspect that your motion sensor is probably working just fine. And it picked something up, obviously.
Yeah. Something's there for sure, and still seems to be here, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, get out. If you hear me there, get out. Calm down at least.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll come and investigate you, and JJ will get rid of it.
Yeah, you need to, guys. You need to come over. You need to come over.
We need to be an international team. That has to happen right now.
100%. Well, I want to get over to you guys. That's my aim. I really want to get to the US. I feel like that's where I want to be. I feel like that's.
Oh, okay. Come on down. Well, you wear enough US gear, so
exactly.
I'm
more of a patriot than most of my American friends.
That's funny. Not me. I'm pretty patriotic, actually.
Yeah.
But so would that be a possibility for? I know this is more personal and not very paranormal, but would that be a possibility for you with Walmart? Or sorry, I shouldn't have mentioned that.
That's okay. That's okay, man.
Okay, with that large. Oh man, I mean,
yeah.
That
so the
large,
company,
super company you work for?
This is my Siri just came up and just started telling me company advice. Then that was weird.
Oh, it probably heard me.
yeah, it started telling me about. I don't know. I don't know if I could come over with them. Maybe. I mean, maybe I could. That's not an avenue I thought of, but possibly. But I would love to. The dream is to have a cabin in the woods in New England where I can podcast and Bigfoot research. That's the goal.
Oh, that would be fun.
That is the goal. I've convinced the wife. The wife's on board now. So we've just got to find out how we can make it happen.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cabin in the woods. I wouldn't, man, you in the woods. I don't know if that's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
With the woods.
I was in, I think I told you on Instagram the other day, I was away last week in a cabin in the woods. There's a place in the UK called Centre Parks, and it's like, it's like little cabins in the woods. It's like, it's nice. But you're in the forest, but it's not like crazy forest. But there was a night where I woke up and I could hear like a growling outside.
Oh no.
And it could be a number of things. There was dogs there and stuff like that. And I was looking, I couldn't see anything, but it did freak me out. And I was like, oh, wow. And then I woke up and I had 3 little bites on my arm.
Yeah, you said something about that. You had these a triangular bite pattern.
Yes. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, have I been abducted? And then I sent the picture to my mum. She works in the forest in France. Oh. And she said to her, they look like spider bites.
In a triangle pattern?
Yeah. She said the way they looked was like, because apparently when you get bit by spiders, they don't bite you once. I don't know how true that is, but this is what she thought, and that's what she said. It looked
I must have lazy spiders here in America, because when I get bit by spiders, it's once.
Really? Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not. I don't know what scares me more: being abducted or bitten by spiders. I think I'd rather be
spiders. I like spiders.
I don't like spiders, man. The thought of a spider biting me at night when I'm asleep—that's not cool.
Oh well, you want to really? I don't know if I should tell you this now.
Do it.
Okay. There's a study that was done a little while ago, and for whatever reason it was done, they say on average, a person devours up to 10 spiders a year.
Yeah.
Eats them because they crawl around. You just swallow it.
Oh man. Oh, I'm never sleeping again.
Oh, I know. That terrified me as I get out of
Oh.
town. There was a period I was just sweeping my bed, making sure nothing was there. You know.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not good with spiders. Like my whole household hates spiders, but I'm the one who has to get the spiders if there's a spider, and I have to get a glass. You know, it stays well away from me. I don't like them. I don't like them at all.
What is the not very paranormal like either? But what is the biggest spider you've ever had in your house?
So there was a time. So this is going back to the house I was in. It was actually a flat I was in before this house.
Okay.
And I heard my wife scream, and I was like, "What's going on?" I ran into the room, and she went, "There was a massive spider on my pillow." Like she was in bed and I was awake, and she said it was like this big. Like she said, I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
I was like, "You must have been having a dream. Like there's no spider here." She's terrified, so we're looking under the bed. I'm looking under, couldn't find it. I said, "If there was a spider that big, we would find it." Anyway. I think it was the next day or a couple of days later, scream again. This time I've gone in my room with her and she's like, told you. So we had wardrobe, didn't have doors on. So like the clothes were out basically. And on one of my jackets, there was a spider. I'm not joking, Tim. It was like as big as my hand. Like honestly, it was huge.
Really?
And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And we've been sleeping in this room and that thing's still been in here. And I was like, I don't even know if the glass is going to get it. I don't know if I've got a glass big enough to catch that one. And so
okay, it was big.
In the end, I tried to get it with a glass and it fell, and I managed to get it. But that's the biggest one I've come across. You know, we can get big spiders here. You're probably where you are. There's probably bigger ones, I would have thought, but
up in the deeper forests, in the deeper forest, we have something called the wolf spider. It's basically a touch larger than a tarantula.
No.
Yeah, they're big. They're rarish and they like it really deep in the forest. So rarely get them. But I did get something akin to it in my house just in time for Halloween. I'll never forget the date. It was October 13th, 2018.
God,
the size
must have had an impact.
I'm not kidding. I don't know where it even came from. We have a pretty airtight house, but it managed to get in somehow and was up by the front door. And like you, I had to go searching for like a mayonnaise jar, just to get something. And it was still too big. So I chanced it and I blew on it. And it shrank in like spiders do. And I got it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's the worst. It's when you're in the forest and you walk through a web.
Manipulate them and get them at the bottom of the jar, and I had to screw it on just so.
And then you got to throw it out. Then when you throw it out, that's horrible.
Well, I didn't know what to do with them, so I put them in the garden and just let in the jar, and I waited a few days and then I threw it away, just in case I broke the jar when I threw it away.
But I've heard they come back in. I've heard if you throw them out, you've got to throw them far out because they come back in. That's what I've heard. I mean, I don't know how true that is. They
lay down little pheromones so they know where food sources are or whatever. And it was one of those types of spiders or arachnids, I guess, that doesn't have the big abdomen. They have these little abdomens, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they don't have the big bulbous abdomen. They have the little one. And that's supposed to be a different type of arachnid, apparently. So
okay. Yeah. Man. Don't like them. I don't like any of them.
There was a time where I was super fascinated by them as a kid. I didn't bring them in the house or anything, but I toyed with them in the yard.
Yeah.
It's like I throw ants at the webs. I was a mean kid. Throw other insects at the webs.
Tim, you sicko.
It was kind of fun. Yeah, that was mean. That was.
I've
really
got this
mean.
memory of I was about 4 years old, and I remember, you said about the spiders with the big backs. I don't know what they're called,
Yeah,
but they're thick.
Evan,
They
yeah.
got thick legs. They got big backs, and there was this spider crawling up my leg, and I remember it. It was like grey and it was hairy, and you could see the hair on it. That's how big it was, and it was coming up my leg, and I just remember screaming, and it was leaving a brown trail. I'm assuming it was going to the toilet on me, and it was literally going up my eyes. Oh man. Since that moment, I have been petrified. I can't handle spiders.
Man, that's
worse than
that's a double
paranormal.
kick in the pants too, because yeah, exactly. Double kick in the pants, because not only was it a spider, but it took a crap on you.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%, man.
That's not fair.
I was terrified. I was like, it's pooing, it's pooing. Yeah.
Oh no. Too funny. Oh,
I thought of something else as well.
I meant to... Go ahead.
No, sorry, you go, man. Sorry, man.
Well, you may have heard about the UFO, not the UFO, but the drone flap out here. All these drones over New Jersey and pretty much the East Coast, even in Ohio and LA. I don't think we had any in my area. I'm Northern California area, so. But did you have any experiences like that in the UK? As far as, I mean, did it all happen at the same time as Jersey?
Well, we're having some as well, for sure. There's definitely some over the UK. Something it's quite strange actually, because obviously the New Jersey one has really like hit the world. Like we're all watching and wondering what's going on there. But I think it was, when was this? So this is going back to the summer, and I'm not saying that this is anything, because at the time, I was thinking a UFO, but I was in my garden. And I could see, because so where I live, I've got there's a big forest behind me, and it sort of spreads round, so I can see it wherever I am at the house. You can sort of see where the forest is, and I'm looking in from the garden, and I can see like trees in the distance for the forest. It's at night, so I know where the trees are. And there was this drone. I'm assuming it was a drone, and it was like hovering, and I'm thinking that is really high. And I've recorded it because I'd put stuff on social media if I think it's strange, and I'm recording it for ages. And I went back in the house, come back out about an hour later, it's still there, and I'm like, what? I mean, you do get people flying. I live on the coast, so you do get people flying drones over the cliff edge, and you do get people flying drones. You do see drones, but this was there for a long time. I was filming it. I've still got it on my phone somewhere. And I remember thinking, that's strange that there's a drone there at this time of night. It's been up for ages as well. It was up for like at least over an hour, couple of hours, whatever it was. And I didn't think much of it at the time. I was going to put it on Instagram and say, like, what do you think of this? But I was like, it's a drone. Everyone's just going to say to me it's a drone. So I was like, I'll leave it. It was a bit weird. And then obviously now everyone's seeing drones, and the drone situation is getting weird. I just find it so strange, man. It's so strange that it's all over the world news. The government are saying they don't know what they are, and then I don't know.
That's and I'm not sure I totally buy into that. I mean, something with an operational, what you call footprint that big. Yeah, someone knows something somewhere, pretty much.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and they're so darn big. Did you see the one that crashed in that lady's car?
Yes. Yeah, man.
And it was as big as her car, no lie.
Yeah. And I don't know if we can buy drones. I know you can buy some pretty good drones now, but I don't know if we can buy drones that big. I don't think you can. So what are they?
There's some industrial types you can get if you use them for farming or any sort of agriculture or industrial work, where you have to do large survey missions like forestry, agriculture, like I said, farming. That's the same thing, isn't it? But I mean, if you need to cover large swaths, you can get bigger drones. But these are definitely strange. It look like they're rigged to actually not only detect things, they seem to have really intense sensor packages on them. Very highly technical. And they also seem to have a lot of additional lights well beyond the FAA requirements. So it's I don't know.
It's wild. It really is.
There's a theory floating around that this is part of NEST, the NEST, which is sounds like something out of a comic book, but it's the nuclear. Oh, now I'm blanking on it. Basically, it's meant to detect nuclear emissions in the wild, so to speak, outside of controlled areas. And there was a suspicion that there may have been a loose suitcase or backpack nuke that they were worried about, whether it was actually out there, but at least they were worried about enough to send out the drones, and that's what was happening.
But then you'd think, I'm guessing they wouldn't want to cause panic if that was the case. That there's,
well, yeah. I mean, if I were in their shoes, I would deny it. I would say, I don't know what's going on. Someone's having fun with drones.
Yeah. It's so strange, man.
It is a strange move, though. I mean, I get not wanting to panic the public, and it seems to die that. I mean, the news isn't even covering it anymore.
Are people still seeing them? Are they still being? Because I see it's not as you say. It's not being.
It's not the news cycle anymore, and it's even on Instagram. I'm not seeing drones anymore.
Yeah.
People are just popping those up left, right, and center. I don't know. Maybe Instagram or whoever else said, "Oh, we're gonna put the kibosh on the drone stuff, otherwise we're going to spark more panic." Who knows? I can only speculate. But it's fascinating to note that Nest, from what my sources tell me, actually have a huge fleet of drones. What we saw was the tip of the iceberg, apparently.
Interesting.
That they could easily enact an operation like that at the drop of a hat. But that's, again, it's hearsay, it's secondhand. I don't know if it's absolutely factually true. But it's, if that is the case, and we did have potentially a backpack nuke out there, which scares the crap out of me. I'm not going to lie to you. And now said activity has at least died down, at least in the public eye. I'm thinking everything's cool. So
hopefully, yeah. But didn't this happen last year as well? Wasn't it around the same time? Not as big, not as talked about, but wasn't it happening as well at the same time?
The same time last year?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That this sort of, there was talks of drones around the same time last year.
Not in the same area, though.
I don't know if it was the same area. I'm not sure, but apparently it was talked about, and not as much of an impact as it's been this year. But apparently, a similar sort of time there was drones being reported.
I remember something about Florida. That's a rough recollection. You're drinking something. I'm waiting for something to pop up. Nope. But I remember something about.
See, it wasn't the can. It wasn't the can. See, no.
It wasn't the can.
It wasn't the can.
Nope. But I remember something about Florida. I think it had something to do with that major, I don't know, someone set up a firecracker or an explosive device near a Florida mall.
The Miami Mall, yeah.
Miami Mall, right. And there was an alien that was supposedly seen there, and they also said there was a lot of drone activity there. So
Interesting.
I think that may be what you're referring to.
Okay, that was
But,
wild. That was wild as well. That couple of weeks where we was talking about the aliens.
Yep.
Very strange.
Well, there was,
Miami
I mean,
Mall.
not what Miami Mall, and then something like 6 or 7 months before that, there was Las Vegas.
Yes, yeah.
We saw the alien in the backyard.
Yeah,
Or
man.
they claim to. I didn't
What?
see it.
Well, there was another. It's very hard with these videos, but there was another video that came out a little while after where you could see something move through the fence. But again, it's so hard with these videos because have they been tampered with? I don't know. I know you're really good with stuff like that, the video side.
Yeah. My take on that was someone doctored the video, and I don't mean that they put this thing in as animation. I think they blurred it before they broadcast it, so it was indeterminate. So if I can get the raw video from that person, we'd have better understanding. Unless this person had a phone from 1990s or something like that had a 480p camera on it, you know. then I could see it, but
yeah, man.
But by and large, in fact, I see that a lot. I see that in a lot of these shows like Finding Bigfoot or even the more, dare I say, and I don't necessarily, you see, they do a good job with it. The more scripted shows like Alaskan Monsters and is that what it's called? And then there's my favorite with the ones with the Ames team in Virginia, and I'm blanking on the title of the show now.
I do that all the time.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure, but I do.
That's a good one.
Names of shows and names in general, I am shocking with. I forget names all the time of shows, of my kids. I constantly forget names. So I'm hopeless.
But it has those 4 good old boys from Virginia.
I know what you mean. I do know. I know exactly what you mean.
Mountain Monsters. That's what it's called. It's called Mountain Monsters.
Yes. Well done. Yes.
Well done. So Alaska Monsters, Mountain Monsters, they're made by the same people, and they have the same exact premise, just in different locations. But some of the footage these guys are given are shockingly out of focus. Even if they zoom, even if they're great with their follow through, it's really hyper pixelated, almost to the point to where, and these guys don't exactly have the most expensive phones in the world, but they have phones advanced enough that you could at least get a reasonable picture out of it. And it seems to me they doctor them. So,
yeah, it's so hard to tell now, man. The videos are getting better and better. It'll get to a point where I don't think we'll be able to tell. You won't be able to tell either way, I don't think. Do you think that's coming? Like, we won't be able to tell, and maybe that's done on purpose.
I think that's entirely possible. I think that is coming if it isn't already here. I mean, the AI stuff alone is just beyond impressive already. And it's getting better and better and better almost day to day. I mean, you still end up with people with 6 fingers or, you know, a third eye on their cheek or something like that once in a great while.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. I reckon a couple of years.
By and large,
yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's scary.
Did you see that one piece of footage of a Bigfoot just strolling through? It just hit Instagram. I saw it for the first time today on Instagram, and it's somewhere in America. A big fella And if this is a costume, it's bravo, very well done. He's big fella, and he's just lumbering along. And I kept paying attention to the feet. And you see the soles of the feet, and they got the 10 toes and the heel, and it looks like a giant human foot, like you would find in the ground if you're stalking Bigfoot, right?
Yeah.
And I paused it just right, just so, and the feet look. I'm torn. I'm so torn because the feet, that you can see a lot of mud and dirt and stuff on the toes and the ball of the foot, but when it comes to the arch and the heel, it's virtually clean.
Man, I've not seen this. You've got to send this to me, Tim. I've not seen this yet.
Send it to you.
Is this brand new? Is this a brand new? Is this a brand new video?
Brand new. It just popped up. Yeah.
Whoa.
You know what I'm going to do? They won't. The folks at home won't notice this, but I'm going to pause this video and find that video. So hold on just a second. Okay, so here we are. Here's the footage. I found it. This is claimed. We have to say claimed. But if this is a guy in a suit, well done. Very well done. I mean, so let's just play it. I'll play it without the audio so you and I can talk over it. But look at the stride.
Man.
Look at just the gait of this thing. You can tell that's a lot of weight moving around.
Man. Wow. When you talk to people that have seen these creatures and they tell you how wide they are, and they say like, this thing was so wide. I mean, that is wild.
Yeah.
That's huge, man.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, let me call it back up here real quick, because that thing is gigantic looking. Just immense. I mean,
and you see his butt as well.
You can see a lot of his musculature. Yeah.
And the size of that foot. The size of that foot, man.
And the foot. And the way the foot, as I was saying, it was muddy on the toes, but the rest of it's clean. And that's the only problem I have with it.
Mm-hmm.
As far as, because if you've stepped in mud as well, as a kid and an adult, you know what that feels like. You know what your foot looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
man, that is
so. I don't know if that's a Bigfoot. He has the cleanest heels in the world. That's my only criticism.
Does it say where this video came from?
No, they don't say in the video either. But this is on Instagram. It's by Bigfoot Arena posted this, and I don't think it's theirs originally. But it's an impressive piece of footage, certainly. Just watch this guy lumber along is just amazing. We got in slow motion here, but I mean, that is just beyond impressive.
I mean, that is
funny. One of the other things that kind of makes me tilt my head and kind of question things is this hiker or traveler or whatever he was, wherever this is. Let me get a better picture of the paws on Bigfoot. Wow, I'm choosing all the wrong frames. There we go. I can see his butt crack.
That's an impressive crack as well.
Was saying, yeah, you can. Yeah, I mean, the hands are super big. The feet are super big. There's three things that come up. So the feet they're not dirty enough for me. I know that's a weird thing, but the feet aren't dirty enough. The stride looks right, but by his posture as I move along here, you notice he's got a bit of a hunch to him, right?
Yeah.
And another thing is you'll notice
the arms here.
Go ahead. And the arms look human, and they're described as having longer arms than humans, typically.
Yeah. And there seems to be. Can you see it like the top of it? There seems to be like it seems like a sleeve or something.
Yeah, there's a seam almost. It's almost like there's a seam there that's kind of shaggy on top, on the shoulder there. like he's wearing a shrug or something. And yeah, it's
I mean, even if that's a
still an
dude, though,
impressive piece of video.
that's a big dude. Even if that
I
is a
mean, there are
man.
big dudes out there, man. I mean, it's not like,
Yeah.
we got the guy who played the mountain on that show,
Yeah.
on that
Mhm.
the dragon show,
Yeah,
which
man.
I'm blanking on.
Game of Thrones. I remember that one. Game of
Game of
Thrones.
Thrones. Thank you so
The
much. That
mountain.
one you knew.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, he's about 7 foot tall. He's an actual Viking, that dude. He is huge.
Yeah, just legit Viking.
Yeah. I think he's actually a Viking. But
yeah, he's
I mean, if that
big pop, big pop.
if that I mean, that seems too good to be true, that video. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but that's pretty insane.
So yeah, 3 or 4 things just kind of make me. It's still, I don't know. And he didn't run. 5 things he didn't run. Usually Bigfoots, if you do catch them in other videos, they book as soon as they're recognized.
Yeah,
and this guy, he didn't run. He's just sitting there lumbering along.
Yeah,
out of care.
and that is. I mean, people say Bigfoot's wide, but that is wide. I mean, that's like as we said, that's like 2 or 3 dudes in there.
But I see what you mean. There's a seam right at the tricep right there.
Yeah, and seems like that could be.
Like, that makes me think it's a costume.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you discovered it. All right, Tommy, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back in a little bit, and we're going to pause for station identification and some commercials. We'll be back in 80 seconds.
This is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPRN, esoteric programming at its finest.
Our symbol, the trident, gifted to us by the priests of Troy Xenos centuries ago when one of the first monster hunting teams out of Corinth battled a contingent of Vrykula Cass that had infested their temple. After the victory over the monsters, the head priest declared, "You are 3 lances acting as one, not unlike Poseidon's mighty trident of light. That would become our name, the Trident of Light, for the good we did and still do against the dark evils of this world."
Available at Amazon Books. Follow us on Instagram at paranormal.insight. Stay informed on upcoming shows, ask questions, and see what chilling paranormal stories we're following. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube at paranormal_insight. Click the live tab to see our latest videos.
And we're back. And apparently I have to add leader to the end of that little ad there because it got cut off, but I digress. We're looking at a Bigfoot video, and it is more and more as we pause it, I'm thinking this is a fake.
Yeah.
I hate to say that. I mean, it could be molting. I mean, this is a creature that's losing its fur, like wolves and stuff. Molting, it could be that, but the dimensions don't track for me the more and more I look at this.
Yeah. I think if this was legit, this would be bigger than the Patterson Gimlin film, because it's.
People would be all over it. This would be on the 5 o'clock news, easy.
You'd think so. You'd hope so. You don't know these days.
That's a fair point. So,
cool video though, man.
Yeah, it is a cool video. It's one that made me double take a few times, but as I look at it more closely now, I'm not convinced.
Nah,
I want to be convinced, but I'm not convinced.
For sure. I do think they're out there though. I do believe in the Sasquatch, but
absolutely. And going back to mountain monsters and Alaska monsters, that the footage some of these guys come up with out of these places is really impressive. Mm-hmm. And they don't show that creature. That's the other thing. They show the creature with the conical head and the longer arms and that type of thing. And and they run so fast, and they're not even trying. This guy has a very human gait. I'll pull him up
Yeah.
again real quick. But yeah, this guy has
I
a
mean,
human gait.
he's a big dude, that's for sure.
He's
I mean,
a very big dude.
if that's the size of it, he might have a bit of padding on there, but if that's the size of him, wow.
Yeah, that's a big papa.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Now, you guys out there in the UK, I don't know why I said that, but you have a Bigfoot, right?
Yeah, we have Sasquatch reports. Yeah, for sure. I've talked to many people that have seen these things. I feel like in the UK, I feel like if they're here in the UK, which I think is possible, I feel like it's probably more of a supernatural thing. But that's just where I am right now. I mean, I could be wrong on that. I mean, a lot of the time, because there is obviously forested areas and there is areas where you can get lost in the UK in the forest, but obviously we don't have as much as you guys do. And that you would think if these things are out there, you'd see them more often, if we've got Bigfoots walking around our forest. But yeah, people do see them, man. I mean, I don't know. It's a difficult one, but I spoke to many people that I trust that have seen these creatures here in the UK as well, and they're all over the world. These, as you know, they're reported everywhere.
That's the remarkable thing. They are literally reported to this day and in antiquity all over the world. There are some version of this creature in virtually every culture around this globe.
100%. Yeah, they've always been there. And I find that very interesting. Obviously, now we're all very connected worldwide. Like we can talk to whoever, anywhere in the world. But back in the day, obviously, we don't think we could do that. And the fact that we've got all the same, like Dogman, and we've got all the same legends and laws all around the world. Everyone's got their own version of the Bigfoot. Everyone's got their own version of the Dogman. So there's got to be something to that. Unless we was all on the internet back in the day, like somehow, or another form of, I don't know, but how would we all have the same?
Exactly. I couldn't agree with that assessment more. I mean, there's just, I mean, I've heard a theory that doesn't really pan out for me, just because of the way that I understand geology in general, that Pangea, remember, Pangea, the one solid state of all the land masses on the earth was in one spot. And the Pangea breakup didn't happen that long ago. Like it happened like maybe 100,000 years ago. And that's why we have everything all over the world now. However, that doesn't make any sense. Because if that had happened, our planet probably would have split apart. Because continental movement, man, that's a big thing, and it doesn't move that fast, even over 100,000 years.
Yeah. How did Australia get right around there?
The breakoff was close to India or something. It slipped all the way down there.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Have I told you about the devil dog in my forest? Have I told you about
devil dog in your forest? Wait, is that the video of the giant dog, black dog playing with the little Jack Russell? No,
I know what you mean though. That video is incredible. Yeah. But where I live, and it's so I live in Poole, Dorset. I've got a big forested heathland behind me, and there's a devil dog law there. And I've had a few weird things that could possibly relate to it. Have I told you about this? I must have told you about this, have I not?
I don't think we talked about it. If we did, it was so brief.
Yeah. So I didn't know, obviously, when I moved here, I didn't know anything about that, the devil dog law. It was actually someone at work that started telling me about it. And her and her father actually had experiences that they think related to that. They heard weird things, and basically, apparently, this is in a book, like a local like paranormal book that talks about the history and stuff. And this devil dog is meant to be in the forest, and it's more of a supernatural thing because it's like people see it, they get a bad feeling, like the legendary black dog that we have here in the UK. It's that same thing. They just call it the devil dog. Okay. And when I first moved here, and I'm not saying this was the devil dog, but It is strange. Even before I started doing the podcast,
Okay.
I've always been a bit of a night owl. So even before I was working where I work now, I would be up all through the night pretty much. I've always been a late night person. I used to hear like a growling outside, right outside my house.
No.
Now, I'm not saying this was the devil, and it probably could have been a local dog, and there was someone did have a Rottweiler across the road, so I always thought it was that dog. But I would always look outside and never see it. A bit like when I was in the camp the other day in the cabin in the woods, and that was weird. And I'm not saying that was because this is even before I knew about a devil dog around here.
Right.
Talking to the girl at work that was telling me about it, and I was like, could I have possibly have? Could that have been something to do? I don't know, but
I don't know.
I'm always in the heathland, in the forest. I take the kids there. I take my dog there. Most days, every day, pretty much. And when we first moved here, it was probably about, I don't know, a couple of months of being here, maybe a bit longer. But me and the girls, my two daughters, went for a little hike, and it was getting late, but it wasn't dark. But it was getting there.
Yeah.
And we got quite far into the forest, and we've gone up this big hill. Amy, my eldest, started freaking out. Like she started like getting a bit scared, and she said, "Dad, I've seen something with yellow eyes. It looked like a Bigfoot." And I was like, "Okay, calm down." And to be honest, I didn't believe her, but I just thought that maybe she's watched one of my documentaries that she shouldn't be watching, because I'm always watching Bigfoot stuff, and I thought maybe she's seen something, and to this day she stands by that she saw something in the forest, but I still don't know. So that happened.
Okay.
And then, so I didn't have a dog at that time, but now I've got a dog. I took him, we was all going for a walk through the forest, and he goes there every day. He's not scared of anything, this dog. Like he'll run over to balls, and he's quite he's not scared. Anyway, so one day I've got to this part of the forest in the woods, and I've gone through a different sort of path than normal, but I'm always going through different paths, so it's not uncommon for him to change his route. Anyway, for whatever reason, the dog's freaked out. He's sensed something, and he's like backing up. And I'm like, "Blue, what's the matter, mate? There's nothing there." Like I could see there was nothing there, and he really got scared. And I sort of had to pick him up and walk him past this area, really out of character. And I thought, well, is that something, And he done that twice. He done that with my wife as well. Another time, another area.
Wow.
That's the only ever times he's done it in that forest. So yeah, I don't know. And then, sorry, there was another time when I took the girls out. They just got new bikes, and we go down this certain pathway, and then there's like this other little path that you can walk down or ride your bike down, and it's quite a long path, but it's not super long. But the girls were like, "Can we ride our bikes down this path, Daddy?" And I'm like, "Yep, you go, guys. I'll stand and watch." So I'm watching them go down, and I've seen this big. And again, I'm not saying it's the devil dog, but it could be. And there was this. At first, I thought it was a fox, and then I'm like, "No, it's too big to be a fox." I thought it was just a dog, like someone's walking their dog, and it's like it seemed like a grey, quite a big dog, maybe like a husky dog or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, my two girls have seen this, and they've stopped halfway down this path and turned back to me like this has scared them, whatever it is. My middle daughter Ruby fell on her bike. So I've run down to her, got her up. This thing's gone, whatever this dog was. So I'm assuming an owner's called it or whatever. And I went, "Ruby, okay, what's the matter?" And she went, "I saw the wolf, Daddy. Like I saw this wolf." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't think it was a wolf. Don't worry." Like, but it was quite a big grey looking, whatever it was. So that happened as well. We all saw that. But I'm not saying it was a devil dog, but it was weird.
No, do you have wolves?
No, not that I know of. Not that I know of. I mean, no, I don't think so. No, we don't. Maybe in Scotland. I think there's wolves in Scotland. No, I don't even think there is. No, there's not. There's not. There shouldn't be wild wolves. But I mean, a lot of people see black panthers and stuff like that. And
well, I know there was a would-be epidemic of a lot of people, especially in the early days. A lot of people had exotic pets brought in from different countries.
Yes.
And then they died and they got let loose.
Yeah, in the 70s. It was it in the 70s there was a new law
Yeah.
and loads of people just let them go.
Just let them
Yeah,
go.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mother-in-law saw, and this 100%, she saw a Black Panther in Essex.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
She
incredible.
and she's not really that fascinated by it, but I'm like, that's amazing. Like, you
That's
saw a Black Panther, and this is 20 years ago she saw this,
wow.
and so I'm from Brentwood originally, which is where she saw it, and I remember as being younger, I remember it being in the local news that people were seeing big cats and Black Panthers.
Sure.
So I remember that. I remember it being in the paper and stuff, but this is before I knew my mother-in-law. And she was driving down. There's a road. Oh, what's the name of the road? I can't remember the name of the road, but she was going down She was going down this road with her sister, and they both saw a Black Panther, they say, on the side of the road. They both stand by it. They're both like, yeah, we saw a Black Panther. It was so weird. They both said to each other, did you see that? There was a Black Panther. Like, yeah. So I think they're out there. So many people see them. I've talked to a lot of people that have seen them.
I believe it completely. There's wasn't there an incident about 3-4 years ago in the UK somewhere where they had to put down a cougar or something like that.
I think so. I seem to remember
something about that. It actually made world news. It's like, wow, there's a cougar. I was like,
yeah.
I mean, that's an animal that's local to me. There's
100%.
we call them mountain lions.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, there's so much out there. I was at a zoo the other day, and I know this is not that crazy, but apparently it was beavers. Apparently we don't have beavers in the wild anymore in the UK, apparently. But this guy was telling me at the zoo that they had like a big lake there, and they said you won't see them because you can see what they're making, but they don't come out or anything, but you can see where they've made, and they've caught them on camera. They've got beavers that have come from somewhere, and they've called all the local like places that would have beavers, like the sanctuaries and stuff, and they're saying no, none have escaped. This is what he was telling me. So he was saying, so they say we don't have any, but some have come from somewhere, and they're now making. They've got like 12 of them now, whatever it is. But
all right,
yeah. So there's a lot out there, man, that they say we haven't got that we have
really
got.
It really is. There was a oh gosh. Yeah, that thought went away. Sorry. I was going to say something.
I do that as well, man.
There was something on the order of you had a mothership in your area, from what I remember.
When I was a kid.
Do you know about that?
Oh. What, recently?
Yeah, I think in at least the last 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
A mothership, like big, like a huge thing. Apparently it was sighted right off of I want to say Dover, but I could be wrong about that. Out over the ocean, and it was obscured by clouds, but you could see the shadow of this thing moving through the clouds.
Wow.
Like,
that's not far from me, even Dover. It's only, it's not far.
I think it was Dover.
Wow. You've just broken something as well that I just remembered. And this is, my brother called me yesterday, going back to what we were saying about drones. Okay. My brother called me yesterday, he is a believer in the paranormal and stuff, but he's a lot more skeptical than me. Like, we both saw a UFO. I think I've told you before, when we was 14, we both saw that UFO together. We was in a haunted room together, a haunted house together.
Yeah.
And we both had experiences, but he's still very skeptical now.
Okay.
And so for him to ring me up yesterday and to be super excited because he can see, he was calling it a drone, and he said it was massive. He said it was like he said it definitely wasn't a plane. And so I live in Dorset now, and he's still in Brentwood, where I'm from. And so it's only 2.5 hours away, but he's still there.
Yeah.
And he said he could see this thing. He's rung me up. I'm like, I'm going to put this on the podcast. He went, no, you're not. But here we are. I'm doing it. And And he said he could see like the weird lights on it, and he said it was just sort of floating, and he was driving, so eventually he lost sight of it. But he said it was a drone.
Did he take
No,
any?
he didn't record it, and I did say that to him. I said, "Can you record it?" He said he couldn't because he was driving. But yeah, man. No.
Sneaking,
I know.
yeah.
They're very in the UK though. You cannot, if you get caught doing that, you're in trouble.
Okay.
You can't draw.
No, same here actually.
He was being a good boy. He was being a good boy, but but I said to him, "I'm going to share that on the show," and he was like, "No, you're not." I was like, "I am."
And here we are.
And here we are. So, sorry, bro. That was yesterday. I've just remembered. There's a lucky.
Oh, that's crazy. And he said it was that big. It was pretty.
He said
big.
It was really big. Yeah. He said it was like. He said it definitely wasn't a plane, but it was like. It was hard for him to really sort of, because he was driving as well. But he said it was big and it was like long and it had funny lights on it. He said it was a drone. I mean, that's because the drone's the thing now. We're all saying they're drones.
Yeah, could be.
But I don't know, man. Yeah.
Well, the other side of the drone phenomenon has been the orb or other UAP phenomenons that are dropping these drones like bad habits, man.
Yeah.
I saw one of the video. There's a video of one in Arizona. And there's these two, they're big industrial drones like you see out in New Jersey cruising around. And one hangs back and the other one goes in up to this orb and it just fries it. And that thing falls right out of the sky. The drone falls right out of the sky. And
whoa.
Yeah, it was, and it's a bright glow, even for, something that isn't the sun,
Mm-hmm.
It just had its own iridescence about it, and it was really bright on the video. I wish I could find that one too.
Interesting.
But, it was fascinating to watch it just kind of almost, the drone just, I don't know if it actually touches it, but it looks like it at least cruises right next to it, and then it just spins out of control and hits the ground.
Wow.
And, yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, man. That is cool. Did you see the Manchester one that was quite recent as well? At Manchester Airport, someone caught it was like a blue orb, but they sort of zoomed into it and it looks a bit mechanical, but like an orb as well. And it just shoots up into the sky. And I believe it was a pilot on the runway that was filming it from Manchester Airport.
Oh.
And this was a couple of weeks before all the drone stuff started happening, I'm pretty sure. So
okay.
I think it was November this happened in the UK.
Okay.
So that was a weird. I'll have to send you that. I'll find that one and send it.
Find that one. That'd be fun. If we have a moment, I mean, I could pause again if you want to.
Yeah, I could try and find.
Okay, so you won't see it at home, but we're gonna be right back. Hello, folks. For you, it was a second. For us, it was 25 minutes. No, it wasn't. But this is the object Tommy was referring to, and this was taken in November last year, 2024, versus our UFO flap. Now, and just as a quick side note, this isn't the first time I'm hearing about UFOs or UAPs over airports or even military installations. The UK's had a number of those too. And so let's take a look at this footage. This is from November. And someone did a 3D rendering of what this probably looks like. And not bad, really well done. I'm sorry I can't zoom in on the video, but this is his breakdown of what it looked like. And kudos, because that's pretty good. And then this is the actual footage the pilot in the aircraft caught, wondering what this was, because I think it shut the airport down, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. That's pretty wild, man.
That actually hit the news. That I can remember that from the news. It was like, there's an object over was Heathrow, right?
This was Manchester Airport, I believe.
Oh, it was Manchester. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And there's that thing scooting across the ground. You'll notice it's more hovering than actually touching.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be touching the ground. Yeah.
So, and it's
weird,
and
man.
This is someone's enhanced grab of that. just as a comparison. But I mean, the way this thing behaves, and then we'll look at. This is the pilot's raw video, and he sees this thing, and it's a big surprise. It's raining in England.
Yeah, always raining. Always raining.
It's like
Cold
Seattle.
and raining.
But this thing apparently has some pretty acrobatic maneuvers that it goes straight up at one point, which I didn't happen to notice in this playback, but maybe if I
Yeah.
and then
I'm pretty sure I've seen videos where it shoots up, but I don't know if he's took a picture of it on the ground and then he's recorded it as it's gone up, maybe.
That could be. But yeah, that's an intriguing piece of. At first, I thought that was it, that little drop that goes down, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty cool. But that's just amazing. It's just sitting there, and it shut the airport down, which I find.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't look like a drone or anything that we know.
That doesn't look like a quadcopter at all, man. I mean, I know there are some gyroscopic types out there. They're kids' toys, and they can operate on that twin blade type of technology.
Yeah.
Where, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And, so it's possible, but I mean, you need a place for the air to get taken in from and pushed out through, and that device appears pretty solid to me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure our governments have got technology that we are unaware of. I'm sure they do have drones that do things that we can't imagine yet, but maybe. But yeah, I don't know,
Maybe.
man.
Well,
Maybe.
have you seen that video of that guy demonstrating the old UFO principle where if you accelerate Mercury in a circular pattern, you'll achieve anti-gravity?
Really?
Yeah, this guy builds it he says, here's Mercury, it's in a tin. I wish I could find that, but I didn't even know where to look for that.
And then he went missing. And then he was never seen again.
I don't know. But basically he uses kind of strips down lamp parts for the cord, and uses the sprocket for something or another. And he gets this mercury flowing based on I guess electric current. So it follows the current and goes spinning real fast in this bowl, this wok looking thing, right? And it just starts, and it doesn't make a sound like I did, but it just starts floating.
Wow. Yeah.
And he even unplugs it, and it stays there, and then it loses its charge eventually, and it goes back down.
Wow.
But it was intriguing, and I remember it wasn't Bob Lazar; it was one of his cohorts or someone along those lines that actually said the same thing. Yeah, they spun mercury somehow. That's how they achieved it. They circulated mercury at a certain rate, charged to a certain degree, and anti-gravity.
Interesting, man. Yeah. Wow.
So some
man, I'd love to talk to Bob Lazar as well, man.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a dream.
I know he doesn't really do podcasts, but
no, he's super shy, and to think about it gives him a headache. Apparently,
really.
Yeah,
I mean, he done Rogan, didn't he? And I don't know if that's the only one he's done.
He did Rogan. He did Jeremy's thing. Obviously, Jeremy, like I know him. Hey, Jerry.
Yeah. Jezza.
But he did Jeremy's thing, and that's really all he's done. But
yeah, I'd love to.
Oh yeah,
I'd love to take him on a night out, give him a few drinks, and I'd be like, "Come on, just tell me,
tell me everything now.
Tell me." Because I mean, it's incredible what he says. I mean,
it's amazing,
and I believe him. I do, but
a guy that smart really doesn't have any room to make up stuff.
I know.
I mean, that's basically all there is to it. I mean, I worked at NASA for 2 years. There was dudes intellect upon intellect way above me. And they told me some of the most remarkable things in the world. And gosh, I wish I can remember even half of them. But the conversation usually said, if you take, let's say, if you take this spool of tape and you combine it with something other arbitrary like this pen, and you get a magnet next to it, you have something remarkable like a death ray. You know, it was like, what? Yeah, just basic physics. There's nothing big about it. It's like, you just told me how to build a death ray with household items. You know,
That's wild.
I mean, that was their intellect. That's the level of thinking and it was just nothing to them. I was like, yeah, physics, big deal.
Man,
I find that terribly fascinating and very complex, and I understand a fair bit of it, but
I'm on the other scale. I'm like the other side.
Well, I say I understand a fair bit of it, but compared to them, I know nothing. I mean,
wild.
Nothing.
So wild, man. Yeah,
but
I had.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, him on my mum's side. I'm not sure who he was, but it was a family member, and he was like, I can't even remember where he worked. I know, but he was a big scientist, and I remember I'd only see him like once a year at Christmas and stuff. I'm not even sure how I'm related to him, to be honest. I don't know if he's like a friend of the family, but I would see him like once a year, and he's like this super intelligent man, like, but he didn't really like talk. He didn't like talk. I think he was just so intelligent, he couldn't even talk to people. He was so. I'd love to just. Oh man, I'd love to get him on the show.
Yeah, pick that brain. That'd be great.
Yeah, talk to me.
Fantastic.
It's just so clever.
Yeah. I'm making notes and pages, and I literally have like half a book written on the notes and questions I have for Rob next week.
Oh, that's gonna be amazing, man.
For those who don't know, Ron Moorhead, I called him Rob. Ron Moorhead's going to be on the show next week. So,
wow, that's cool.
That's amazing.
Sierra Sounds. Yeah.
Sierra Sounds. And don't think we're not going to start there, because we are.
Yeah,
I'm going to go as chronological as I can.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that one.
Oh, me too. That's going to be a blast. But I only get 2 hours with him, and I don't know how I'm going to fit it all in.
Yeah.
But so
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a win. That's a grab. I'm very, very happy about that.
Yeah,
geeking out a little bit. I'm trying to get it all in my system.
For sure. For sure. That's what's so cool about the paranormal. Like, you can meet guys like him and talk, and you obviously see these dudes on telly. They've got amazing books, and then you get them in front of you. It's so cool, man. I love it.
It's amazing.
You're gonna have a good time.
It's gonna be a blast. And I actually saw the show that he was guest on, Alaska something, Killer Bigfoot in Alaska. Maybe that was the title of it.
Yeah.
It was a limited series, just one run, and it was a really touching story, because these Native Americans up in Alaska had established this township where they were living off the land, and they were doing really good, and they were fishing. It was basically a fishing village, and they were doing quite well. They had their own cannery and all that fun stuff, but they got run off, apparently, by a killer Bigfoot. And it became a killer Bigfoot when I think either the tribal elders sent an expedition team in to figure out what was going on, and they all ended up dead. Like, there was a full-on police investigation about what happened to these guys, and there's pictures of the bodies, and these dudes were full-on slaughtered by something.
Whoa.
And the elders kept saying, well, they have it's a great name too. I think Ihukwe. I'm probably messing that up. It's not Sasquatch, it's something else. But in the local language there. And it's a beautiful name, actually. But God, I wish I could remember it. But I digress. But it was yeah, so one team gets wiped out, another one goes in after the cleanup, and they get terrorized to the point, and I think one guy gets either really seriously injured and dies later, or he dies there and they leave.
Whoa.
Take him with them. So the two parties go in and they suffer horribly. And then the town's virtually abandoned for like 30 years.
Mhm.
And then they get to a point that this tribe gets to a point where we cannot sustain ourselves anymore. We're living in overpopulation. We need to reclaim that town. So they send this special force that the elders decree are ready for the job. And man, when they go in and they are hit with everything that you could possibly think of from all sides, whatever's after them, and we catch glimpses here and there. There's some thermal footage, but these guys are swimming upstream the entire adventure. And at one point, they bring Ron out, and he's a witness to some of these events, and he clues them into some interesting things that even I didn't know about. And I've been doing this a while, you know, not Bigfoot specifically, but paranormal investigation in general. And that's don't use white light when you're hunting Bigfoot. Use red light or amber is okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't go out with your headlamps. You'll tick it off.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that's what most researchers do with the Bigfoot. They go out with the lights and torches.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. There's one out there called it's not Expedition. Is it Expedition Bigfoot?
Yep.
All these shows are getting so much play on my on my channel here. But it's okay by me. They're actually pretty smart. They have the amber wands they go out with. And they're big LED sticks.
Yeah.
They're amber colored and red colored, and they have a lot of thermal stuff. And they've caught some interesting stuff too.
Yeah, man, it's a good show.
It is.
Yeah,
I like the fact that they use that Boston Robotics dog robot.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they've got some cool technology. The drones as well that they use.
Yeah, they have some drones. Yeah.
But
it's incredible stuff. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing. Man.
Let's get back to you since it's
no, it's cool, man.
It's your show, man.
Don't worry about me.
when you were let's revisit the story about when you were little and you saw the man you call Shakespeare in your room.
Yeah.
Would you mind retelling that story?
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. He looked like William Shakespeare. That's what as a kid, that is what I put it to. You know, that's how he looked. So basically, we grew up in a haunted house, and there was a lot of weird things going on there. I was a very scared kid. Like, I'll be honest, I was always trying to get in bed with my mum and dad. And I was a bit older when this happened. So I was about 10. I was around that sort of age. So I should have been sort of okay at going to bed on my own and stuff. And I wasn't. I was always scared of the dark. And I'm still like that now, as you know. I'm still scared of the dark. I still, if the wife's away or whatever, I've got the telly on or a light somewhere because I can't sleep on my own in the pitch black even to today.
Gotcha.
And so me and my brother had bunk beds, and we had, as I say, there was a lot of activity. You used to hear things in the house and weird vibe. But one night I woke up and I was on the top bunk, and I looked over my bed, looked down at where the desk area was, and there was a man sitting there at the desk, full-bodied apparition. Like, it was solid. You know, I wasn't thinking ghost. I was just thinking there's a man in my room. And he looked like, as I would say, when I see pictures of William Shakespeare, that's sort of what this dude looked like. He had long hair, he had like a little beard. He was wearing like this old-fashioned suit, brown suit with boots on, brown boots. And he just looked like, as a kid, that is what I put it to. But I don't think it was actually William Shakespeare. It might have been, but he was sort of sitting there, sort of looking up in my direction, but not moving. You know, as far as I can remember, I could see his face, I could see his details and everything, but
Wow.
I didn't see him blink. I don't remember seeing him blink. He was just there, and he was sort of didn't move, didn't say anything. And I've just screamed. My mum's come running in, and I'm just saying, "Mum, there's a man in my room. There's a man. And she can't see him at all. And she's gone over to the desk. I can't remember if she's gone through him or anything like that, but she says sorry now when she hears me record it, but she got a bit angry with me because I was always getting up and getting in bed with my mum and dad.
Right.
She was like, she just thought I was just trying to get out of my bed again. And she was like, "You're not coming out of this room. You're staying in bed." And I was like, "Oh, what do I do?" And I just remember just going under my covers, crying, sweating, and I couldn't sleep at first. And I'm like looking out, and he's still there. So my mum's gone out the room. I'm still seeing this dude, whoever he is, and going back under the covers, sweating up. And I just remember just like really sweating and just being terrified.
Wow.
Somehow I fell asleep that night. And I just remember waking up in the morning, looking, man's gone obviously, it's morning, and never saw him again. But you know, from that moment on, I always knew there was something going on. And I always, as I say, I was a very weird kid. I was always scared and thought something was in my room. But from that moment on, it was like, yes, that there's no denying that for me. You know, I know, people say you might have been dreaming, but it lasted too long. It was too clear.
Never mind, your mom came in the room, ran her hands.
My mum came in the room.
Didn't see him.
She couldn't see him.
Yeah.
And in that room as well. So my brother, as I said before, he's a bit more skeptical than me, but he was on the bottom bunk, and a separate night, he woke up and he saw two red eyes. And he said these red eyes were just floating towards him. And that was his memory. That was his scary memory of that room. But man, it's very strange. And I didn't see that man again. I did see another apparition. I say it was an apparition. I was in my mum and dad's bedroom, and I think this was after seeing that dude. But I was my mum and dad had mirrors in their room, and I just remember I was in there playing in their room. I can't remember what I was doing, being silly. And a naked lady walked past me, blonde naked lady, and I thought it was my mum, because my mum would sometimes walk around the house naked. I know it's a bit weird, but and I followed her into the bathroom, into their ensuite, and I've just gone, "Mum," just saying something, gone into the bathroom, and there was no one there, and I was like, I just remember being like, "What?" And I've run downstairs, and my mum's there, fully clothed. And I was like, "I've just seen you upstairs." She's like, "Well, it's not me." And I was like, "Wow," because I saw a full body walk past me.
Wow.
So
now this actually reminds me of our last time we interviewed. I think it was with JJ and me and you. And I remember there was this moment where you actually paused the interview. What? And I think you said something like, "What?" because you saw your daughter walk by. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And then you called out to her. You apologized briefly. You said sorry, and you called out to her. I think it was Amy.
Mm-hmm.
And she called from the other room. It's like, you kind of brushed it off. It's like, "Oh, I thought I saw her walk by, but I guess I was wrong." And then we continued the interview.
Yeah. And when I'm not,
and that's what your kids saw. It just clicked.
Yeah. Oh man, don't. Well, people do say to me like it's possibly a doppelganger.
I was just going to say doppelganger. Yeah.
And that's what people have been saying to me, and maybe. And I mean, yeah, for sure. And as I said, my wife heard me call her while I was at work. And that happened quite recently. I've heard when I was downstairs after a show once, I heard someone say, "Dad."
Oh.
And it was very clear. And I was like, "What?
What child? What child did it sound like?"
This is the thing. I thought it was my boy, but he was he wasn't nowhere near there
Oh
to say
man.
it. And that was like, whoa. And it's giving me goosebumps thinking about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's giving me chills too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Why do we do this, Tim? What are we doing?
Well, we're too good at this job. That's all.
What are we doing, man?
If we don't, who will?
I remembered as well something else that's happened. You know, I said when I was having like a bad feeling about it.
Sure.
I remember something else that I forgot to mention earlier. So we may have spoke before that I used to get bad sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
So I still get it, but it's quite rare now. So in where I was before, I used to get it once a week at least. Now it can be once every 3 or 4 months. Like it's very not that often now.
Okay.
But I put this down as a sleep paralysis, possibly, but I don't know. So this was a little while ago when we was having quite a lot of activity. I was asleep. Freddie, my son, was in the
Tommy,
middle of me.
I'm sorry. Maybe it was your hand movement.
Oh no, don't.
I'm not kidding you. It could be my eyes just playing tricks on me because I wasn't paying attention specifically. But if I'm this hand, okay.
Yeah. I'm going all cold now, Tim.
Yeah, do this. Just do this real quick. No, with the other hand.
Oh my gosh.
Can you do it right there? Yeah. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was your hand, but there was a weird I thought I saw something peek out and then go back away.
Oh, Tim.
Sorry, dude.
Oh, we're gonna have to look back. We're gonna have to look back.
The playback.
Oh
no.
my gosh. Maybe. It wouldn't surprise me.
I hope it was your hand and I just misread it.
I don't know.
Sorry, continue with your story.
It could be. So I was asleep, and so Fred was in the middle of us because he'd obviously. So a lot of the times the kids, like me when I was a kid, they come in our room quite a lot, and we're quite okay with them crashing out on the floor in sleeping bags or sometimes getting in bed with us. You don't want it every night, but you do every now and again. It's fine. But so Fred was in the middle of us, and so I'm asleep, and I've woke up, and Tim, it was so real. It was like I was awake, but I woke up and Fred was awake, looking at the door, screaming. And I'm like, Fred, what's the matter, man? What's the matter? Like, and I didn't see what was at the door, but I'm like, what's the matter? Something's there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I woke up.
Oh
man, I'm just giving me chills thinking, but it was so real, and it was so real. And I've woke up again, and Fred's fast asleep, the wife's fast asleep, and I'm like, that's not a normal dream. Like you can tell with a dream, but this wasn't. This was so real, and that was another moment where I was like, okay, if there's something here, please leave. You're not welcome. Yeah. So that was. I know it was in a sleep mode, but it was very strange, man.
There's something off about it, right?
Yeah, it felt bad.
Well, I had the most bizarre sleep paralysis incident not that long ago. I had rolled around to one point or another, and the sheets were tucked under my back in a weird way. And sometimes I get that restless. And I was still at that point of sleep where you do not want to move, nor can you move. But I had to do something because this was killing my back, and I finally work up some sort of will, I guess is the word, to move my limbs, but it seems like they're outside of my control. I mean, I can almost, it's like I'm paralyzed, just like the state is it called, the sleep paralysis. I am paralyzed, and I had to force everything to move, and it hurt. I couldn't tell you that it felt like my bones were on fire. It hurt so bad.
Oh,
and and I have my share of arthritis at my age, but it's not that bad. But everything, my entire skeleton seemed to be rebelling against my moving, and it was everything I could do to move even the smallest bit. And I found that very strange.
Yeah.
Very
Interesting,
strange.
man.
I was like,
Sleep.
what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, the sleep paralysis is a strange one, man. Because I think there's possibly different types. I think there could be
There
like
are.
a
Totally.
scientific explanation sometimes, but then what I've experienced, I don't know, man. I think it is something more. I really do.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. And there are different levels of sleep paralysis and out there.
Yeah.
That have been, identified. But at the same time, given your experiences specifically, I would tend to say you might have a bit of forewarning happening to one degree or another, a little bit of clairvoyance, if you will.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, but it's a protection mechanism more than anything. It's like, oh, look out! Don't go down this path. Go down this path instead. So that's nice.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
So that could be very helpful at points.
Yeah.
But if we're to okay, so you want to live in the woods? You're by the woods anyway.
Yeah, I want to live in the American woods.
You want to? Well, they get kind of fun. Let me tell you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I want the Bigfoot. I want the Bigfoot, and I know.
Oh,
they're everywhere, but I
you
want.
know
I want
what?
To be...
Well, we could talk after the show, but Eric might be able to help you out with that. He knows a couple of people, so
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we'll have to see let's see if we can set something up. We got to get you out here, man. We got to get you here for a vacation or something.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. I don't think I'll leave though. I don't think I'll be leaving.
Sell everything and get out here now.
That's it. I'm coming, man.
Oh man, that'd be great. If I'm actually thinking about heading up to. There's a place close to me called Ben Lomond. You probably have heard of it before. Huge Sasquatch field, basically. I mean, lots of crossings and sightings and stuff like that. And there's a Bigfoot museum. It's this tiny little shack of a building, but it's really cool. And this guy runs it, and his name again escapes me unnaturally. I don't have no memory anymore. But he has this map, and it takes up an entire wall, and it's just his town or his county anyway. And all over this map are little pins where people witnessed and seen and reported Bigfoot sightings.
Wow.
And you can very clearly see a migratory pattern as it intersects a freeway.
Wow.
It's amazing. So I'm going to be heading up there hopefully within a week or two.
Wow.
I've been promising myself this for almost a year now, but this time I'm going to do it.
That's cool, man.
So maybe I'll see something and I'll be able to share it with the world.
Yeah, 100%. If you can get that video, if you can get that magic video.
Yeah. Maybe I can get that one with that.
The big dude. Yeah, get the big dude.
Big fella walking, that guy right there. And prove it was real.
Yeah. Man, that is big. The thing is, I know you've talked to a lot of people that have seen these creatures as well.
Yeah.
When you talk to people that explain, they sometimes they say like this thing is like, obviously we get a lot of images of Bigfoot, and we've got an image in our head of what these things look like, and I think there's different versions of them as well. But some people say that these things are unlike anything I've ever seen before. Like they don't look natural. Like they're huge. Like obviously, and the way they move, like is not like a natural what I've seen before. Like so many people say that. So I think like when you see these things, it's going to be unbelievable.
I think it'll be remarkable, really. Now, going back to our friend here real quick, let me pop him back up here. This thing doesn't want to cooperate. Let me get him in the light. There we go. Yeah, I know it's still gigantic, isn't it? One thing that, like I said, he didn't run. He didn't pick up on the fact that there was a human watching him. He didn't run. His everything we do know about these people says once they're recognized as being spotted, they run away. Patterson Gimlin film is a prime example of that, and probably the best evidence we'll so far have caught on film of that type of creature. And you make a very good point. And this actually speaks to Ron Moorhead's point that these are interdimensional creatures, chiefly. I mean, so that would be, and if they are basically wild humanoids with an ability to cross from one dimension to another, wow. I mean, that by itself is earth-shattering. I mean, it almost, if that is the case, that then confirms alternate dimensions exist.
Yeah.
And then confirms that maybe our UFO experiences could be multidimensional as well. So,
well, I think that would explain why we can't 100% catch these creatures and prove, because if they can just jump in and out of our reality, that's going to be almost impossible. If they don't want to be found and they can do that, what chance have we got?
I mean, we'd have to, I don't know, we'd have to evolve to one degree or another to where they did to pick up that ability, or develop some technology that can crack that code. And it's probably doable to one degree or another.
Maybe we could have done that. That maybe back in the caveman days we could do
possibly. I mean, there are animals that can change their scent. There are animals that can actually, frogs can change their sex if the population shifts one way or another. So, I mean, maybe we did have these certain abilities back in the old days. Who knows? I mean, there's certain pieces of evidence that would point that we humanoids were once giants, that we were the giants. Not that we were living next to them necessarily, but I mean, they dug up. We're running out of time here too. We dug up Moses's grave, or someone did. Apparently, it was Moses's grave, and they came up with a finger bone, and it was twice the size of a human finger bone. But every legend of local lore and everything else say that's where Noah was buried. And it would also account for if all that is true, and the ark happened and all that fun stuff, the huge boat they found, or the remnants of the boat they found, it would make sense that it was that big, not just for the animals, but for the people running it, because they were giant too.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of fun conjecture to play with.
Was that in Turkey where they found the boat? Was that the spot in Turkey?
Mount Ararat, somewhere near the basin. And they found this huge oblong crater looking thing, and it had boards on the side of it, and they said, oh my gosh, it's a boat. So whether they actually put it all together, I don't know. But that same dig, I think, is where they excavated the grave. So interesting stuff.
Very interesting.
Well, we just tapped the very tip of the iceberg on the things we could talk about, but we are running out of time. I'm sorry to say. But I want to thank you, Tommy, for being on the show, man.
Thank you, brother. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Anytime, man.
Mine and all ours, I'm sure. Oh, cool. Well, we'll talk tomorrow then. No, I'm kidding.
Let's go. No, I'm up for it. I'm always up for it.
Let's do it. Probably not, but I mean, soon enough. So I'll say goodbye, everyone, and I want to thank you all for joining us. My name is Tim Sudano. This has been Paranormal Insight. Thank you so much for joining us.
If you have a paranormal experience that you would like to discuss on the show, please email us at paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. That's paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com.